this edition of Family and Society Talk Show. Family and Society Talk Show, like you already know, is an initiative of Pure Heart Family Development Foundation. I'm your host. My name is Elizabeth Simpson. And I'm glad to let you know that it's been 2 years already. Ooh, wow, just like yesterday. We've been on air, we've been repairing, we've been nurturing, we've been advocating for homes, for families, to ensure that we have a happy home, a peaceful home, and of course to have a sane and a crime-less society. This is what we do. All right, that's what we talk about issues that have to do with the home, families, marriages, parenting. I know most of you have been following us for the past 2 years, and I want to say a very big thank you to all of our viewers and listeners, because we've been on air on both radio and television. Thank you so much for always being there, and I want to equally appreciate all of those that have we've gotten feedbacks from. It's also it's really very good to know that what you do, you don't just do it, that people are paying attention, and the purpose of having a life change positively is being achieved, and I'm very grateful for that. Okay, here we are here again today on this edition to talk about marriage. You know what it is, marriage. When we talk about family, talking about building a good home, a peaceful home, and a happy home, and making a better society, it begins with marriage. When you can't build a home, we always advocate that before you settle down, you have to settle by getting married before you start making a family and having children, and undergoing the process of procreation and all that. We are talking about marriage today. We are talking about the origin of marriage and the contemporary marriage. We are going to be comparing and contrasting what is it like, what was it like at the beginning, and what is it now. God is the initiator and the creator. All right, He initiated and created the marriage institution. How have we fallen out of how God originally planned marriage to be? Marriage is actually a mystery that needs to be properly understood and respected before two adults decide that they want to get married. They should actually undergo the study of what marriage actually entails, before deciding to say, okay, we want to spend the rest of our lives together. So we cannot but overemphasize the topic marriage. Today I have wonderful people with me in the studio, even as we talk about this topic. I have Mr. Kisha Ndie. Did I pronounce it well?
Yeah, you did it well.
Kisha Ndie is a media personality. You are welcome, Kisha.
Thank you so much. Good to have you
Yeah, and then I have with me Reverend Canon Smart Simon. He's a journalist and a clergyman. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming back. Yeah, then I have with me the beautiful lady, Clem Pat. You must have seen her. She's not her face is not strange to the program. Patience Clement Onyeche. She's a journalist and an author and an educationist.
Thank you so
Patience,
much.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Ma. It's good to be here again.
Yes, it's good to have you all. They are all my colleagues in different angles, so they are part of the house. All right. It's good that it's three of you that are here with me today to talk about this topic, this topic that has to do with marriage. All right. I want to start by saying, what is marriage? How would you introduce marriage? Let me start with you, Kisha.
Marriage. I think you talked about settling down, right? In a layman's sense, if you're talking about marriage, you're talking about the legal aspect of, a man and a woman coming together for the purpose of, reproduction.
Yeah.
And if you call it a marriage, there are certain things that qualifies it as marriage. It must be backed by the law,
right?
Legally accepted, registered, and this actually legally joined together as husband and wife. And anything outside that, it may looks like marriage, it may sounds like marriage, it may have the futures of marriage, but not really marriage.
Okay, and then quickly again, why did God create marriage?
for His glory and for His praise and for production and reproduction. Because I remember when He was given, He said something. He said to multiply and replenish. So which means that God will not just go ahead to create everybody. So He left that aspect that after the marriage, the next thing that follows should be reproduction.
Okay, so Cleopat, what in a nutshell, what would you say? How would you describe marriage? How would you describe marriage, and how would you link it to the creation of God, or rather to God's creation?
Thank you very much. Well, like you rightly said, when we talk about marriage, we cannot rule out the God factor. God originated marriage. God ordained the institution of marriage. It's actually a sacrament.
Right.
Yeah, and it is for companionship. It is for reproduction, like you said, recreation. God wants us to continue to dwell together for His glory. And that is the reason why we are all here. We all came out into this world out of one marriage or the other. Because definitely we have different type of marriages, yes. But if you're not from this part of it, you're from this part of it. So traditionally, like the topic today, they are the former type of marriages and the present type, the modern styles of marriage, which are going to talk deeply into it. So definitely God did all this for us to have a comfort, trust, and honor for each other. Yeah, that is the essence of marriage.
Okay. So, Canon Smart, I'm coming to you right now.
Yeah.
So, marriage, how would you describe it and God's creation?
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity. What has been said by the gentleman and lady is absolutely right. But what I do want to do now is to emphasize aspect. And the aspect I want to emphasize is the fact that marriage is God's own idea. So marriage is not traditional. Marriage is not about culture. Whichever culture you belong to, and you talk about marriage, whichever religion you belong to, and you talk about marriage, it is an idea that is borrowed from God. So God designed it. And now when God instituted marriage, it is between a man and a woman. Not between a man and man, or between a female and female. I just want to make that
at the
very
beginning.
at the
From the
beginning.
beginning.
Right.
That is what God intended to be. Now, when He has talked about procreation, there is no magic that a man and a man can do to be able to procreate. God didn't finish creating everything.
Right.
When He created some, He left some aspect for human being. And He has said this creation, particularly of human being, must be done within the confine of a family, which begins with marriage. So it is between a man and a woman. And that is why He created Adam first, who is a man, and thereafter Eve was created from the man. So you have Adam and Eve. You don't have Adam and Steve. Neither do you have Eve and Stella. So that's just the point I want to emphasize.
Okay. So in other words, marriage is essential, to God's plan as far as mankind is concerned.
Very, very
Right?
important.
Exactly.
Okay. Does God choose for man who to marry? Because there are a lot of times where we've heard that people want to get married and that they're of that age and they're like, oh, I'm praying about it. God has not revealed to me yet. I'm waiting to I'm seeking the face of God. I'm praying about it. All right. Is God supposed to be the one to choose who you marry as an adult, whether the man or the woman for you? And if yes, how is he supposed to make this choice for you? And if no, how is one supposed to choose the person they intend to marry? Tisha.
Well, I love this very well because I don't believe that God has so much to do when it has to do with you making your choices, because right from the time of Adam, the blame game actually started when God was asking Adam, what really happened? He said, the woman you gave me. And I believe right from that time till now, God will just think about, okay, so it's better because man is a free moral agent. Make your choices. So for me, I'm thinking, back in those days, there was something like praying. My father never prayed for my mother. There were norms, there were rules. They had a way of getting a wife and getting a husband. And secondly, if you were going to allow God to choose for you, and you tell God, this is the woman I want, and God is going to give you that woman, maybe something happened that there's a separation. You go back to God again, you tell God, okay, the second wife that is coming in, this is the type I want. Exactly. God brings that up again. So a lot of things happen. God wants to see that you make your choices. But there are certain factors that either limit your choices or aid your choices in choosing who to marry. I see Elizabeth, and I love Elizabeth, and I get married. That becomes it. So I'm not going to blame anybody tomorrow, because there will be a day that I don't feel like loving him anymore, but we are still supposed to be together. So for me, God is not really picking up saying, okay, this is the person that you marry. What happened to women who lost their husbands? So whose husband is God going to pick and give to those that lost their husband? Whose wife God is going to pick now and say, okay, because the other person is no longer your partner, is no longer available, your spouse is no longer available, let me pick Mr. A's spouse that was the other way and give to. So
okay.
There.
So sorry.
Yeah.
In other words, yes, it is good to seek the face of God.
You can, yeah.
That's prayerfully.
Yeah, I have
to help you choose, make the right choice.
Yeah, you can say, I have seen Miss A. I love her. God, what do you think? What is the future like between the two of us? God can reveal certain things to you that you have to work.
So what about those times when not necessarily where those revelations don't come, like for you to see that God says, oh, she's the one, or pinpointing directly to say he is the one. Okay, she is the one. Does it mean that person is not right for you? No,
100% you can be right. You can be right. God is not. He's not going to show you. If I see her now, I say, okay, I love you and I want to really marry. Whatever we agree, both of us agree. Heaven stands by us because we know God is aware that I am sincere to her and she is sincere, and we're going to work out things together, and it's going to be to his glory. All he needs to do is say, okay, we have agreed on this. He's going to bless what you have agreed, so you work and stand by him.
Okay.
And with that,
so do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I will agree with what he said.
Which aspect do you agree? Which aspect do you not
The
agree?
point is this: when you talk about marriage, you cannot rule out faith in God
right.
as much as faith in your spouse, just like he stated. You actually see somebody, you've seen somebody you love or you think you want to settle down with. I think the primary thing there is, God, this is the person.
Right.
You tender it to God. God, this is the person I love. But it's not in God to say, okay, you must marry this person. It is your choice. It is your decision. You know what you wanted. Take for instance, the person may have some, like, let's put it this way now, this person is a musician. The guy is a musician, and I fall in love with him because of his, maybe the way he worships God or the way he does his things and all of that. And I decided, I think I will do well with this guy. Maybe, like, personally, I love music. Okay, if I'm angry, kind of, if I'm having mood swing, once you're singing around me, I get you kind of come back to myself, to my senses again, and all of that. So if I see somebody that tallies in that aspect, and I feel I can dwell with this person, I will go with the person. So it is not a must that God will show you it is Monday you must marry, or it is Shade that you must marry.
Right.
You can actually know who is your perfect match.
Right.
Considering the things you love so much
About
in
the
that person.
Okay, so I'm coming to you, Canon, now. Is marriage compulsory?
Yeah, so before I will answer that question, I just
go
want to
add to
add
what you have said.
that the good book says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor
From God.
So the verb find is definitely something that you have to do
Yes.
By yourself.
Yes.
by yourself. Now, for example, as an individual, I have my values, I have my visions, I have things I want to do.
Mm.
And if I want to marry, what I should look out for is somebody with the same like mind.
Yes.
that will share in your
All right, we
Yeah.
share in my
Vision.
vision. Somebody who will be willing to help me
And support
actualize my dreams.
Mm.
These are the kind of things I will be looking out for. I will be so it will help me to find. So, but while finding, I'll continue to pray to God. That is why I like the aspect of you can't rule out God factor.
Definitely.
Very important.
Right? So
Oh, yeah.
I pray to God to help me to be able to open my eyes to see clearly this particular person. Truly, God no longer say this is your wife.
No.
Because the first time
He did.
and the last time he was blamed for doing it.
Yes.
Right? So Adam said, you gave me the wife you gave me. So from there it's like God is saying, okay,
It's our choice.
that
So
is it.
back to, question,
So back to
is
the
marriage
question.
A command? Is it a commandment from God?
Marriage.
Must people get married? Is it a must
Everybody.
that everyone must get married? Does it count? Does it mean that if you don't get married, you will not make heaven? Or if you don't get married, you will not see God? Or if you don't get married, you are living in sin? Or if you don't get married, you can't fulfill your purpose? Is marriage meant to? So is that what completes one? Is that what makes you fulfill your purpose and destiny?
All right. So if the first is God, is marriage necessary
Yes.
for everybody?
Yes.
Well, I will say marriage is necessary, but not for everybody.
Okay.
Mm.
It's necessary because it is a fundamental part of God's plan. He instituted it, and because He instituted it, that means that it is good
Mm.
for everybody.
Mm.
Now, but there are some people who might not be wired for marriage
Mm.
because of their distinct personality. Now, if they go into marriage, they cause all manner of problems. If they go into marriage, the marriage won't survive.
Please cite instance.
Now, in certain instance, there are people who are naturally very selfish by nature.
Mm. Those-
Marriage is not for selfish people. If you are selfish, you don't go into marriage. You must be selfless to be able to be a good husband or a good wife. So any selfish individual who goes into marriage, because it will be like everything is about you,
You and yourself.
yourself alone.
Alone.
You don't consider how the other person feels. You do anyhow, then it will not survive.
Mm.
So those kind of people might not. But also, there are people who, for biological reasons, who might not be able to fulfill the responsibility of marriage.
And the procreational aspect.
Exactly. So those kind of people might not go into marriage, because if they do, they won't be able to meet up with the
Let
responsibility.
me just saying that, it just reminded me of a story. There was a story that went viral some time ago. I had even talked about it, where this matured lady came out and was crying out that she was even a child. Her parents were pastors. She got married, and just about, of course, after marriage, you have to consummate your marriage. It got to that stage, the man wasn't forthcoming, couldn't do anything. So it took about 2-3 months, according to her. So she was not like, what's going on? We are married now. Give me what I want. We both owe and desire, deserve each other. It took after 3 months, she was like, no, today you have to, otherwise. Then she discovered that the man could not. And she was like, okay, how long has it been like this? He said it was born like that. I'm saying this because of, yeah, exactly. So she was like, you were born like this. Why did you marry me? Why didn't you tell me? So what happens now? She told her parents about it, And her parents were like, oh, sorry, my dear, we are Christians, you are married now, you have to stick to your husband. How will that work? How can she stick to such
To a man who
Man who
perform
cannot-
his conjugal rights.
Exactly. Because my opinion then was that probably if he was truthful to her enough to have told her what, the kind of a person he is, the challenges that he had, if she loved him that much, she would have been able to psychologically process it, knew what she was going into. Probably two of them would have figured it out, how they intend to live together and cope with that situation. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. It was he lied to her, and she was into the marriage already. Then he opened up, and she's trapped. So what happens to such a person?
Actually, that marriage was built on
Lies.
And whatever is built on lies or on nothing, so to say, it cannot stand.
Yes.
So the problem is not his biological nature.
Right.
The problem is the fact that he lied.
He lied.
To her.
Right.
And I think that whatever happens, the lady is not going to be blamed. However, we pray that God will help her, if nothing has happened, to pray for her husband so that there is nothing God cannot do, right?
Yes.
God can heal the man. You pray about it. If it is a spiritual matter, God can come to their aid. If it is a disease in the body, then they should see a doctor. Perhaps.
Keisha, you laugh, right?
Perhaps there will be solution to the
Patience,
problem.
just be quiet. Just be
All
patient.
right.
I can see that your body language. You are
Otherwise,
finished.
for me, he has done what was not right. So whatever decision she takes, no one should blame her
Absolutely.
for taking that decision.
So, Keisha, let me put this to you. For the fact that her parent had told her she was already married to the man, she just had to stick to the man. Do you support that?
I don't support that, because he said something. He said anything that is any structure on lies, built on lies,
Right.
cannot really stand. So the marriage is built on lies. It should not stand. And if I want to ask the parent, where do they see it? That she wasn't coming to be a prayer warrior to heal the man.
Right.
She was supposed to be a wife.
A wife,
And
right?
even a wife, you're not supposed to be the healer. You're not supposed to take the responsibility
Right.
that the man brought from his
That
childhood.
his parents couldn't.
That his parents, so if the parents
Sort out for
loved him
him.
enough,
Yes.
that would have been sorted out before even making advancements to
Exactly.
any woman.
Right.
And for that man to stay up to that level, first, what he would have done was to say the truth to that woman, to any woman, say, okay, now I know I can't really perform this, but I'm going to get married to you. This is how we plan. We can adopt children.
Yeah,
we can do
he
this. and we
did
can-
that after the woman discovered. He told her that they can adopt children.
No, that wasn't necessary. That wasn't necessary.
That's not the first thing.
Yeah.
At all.
That wasn't good
Okay,
enough.
quickly before we move on, you have something to
Yes,
say on that.
yes, please. I have to say
Go
something.
ahead. Very quickly.
Canon, with due respect, sir, all Canon is trying to do is within his confinement. He is in Canon. We don't expect you to say less than you said.
Yes.
All right, and quickly to you, sir, you've said it. Or the fact is this man built everything on lies,
Right.
like Canon says.
Yes.
But to round it up is this: you can't force somebody into such situation. Like parents, we should learn to do the right thing. You try to protect yourself because you're a man of God, you're a preacher, you are who you are.
But funny
the life
enough,
of your
do you know
daughter
that there might even be a possibility that the parents had no idea? That is, if they hadn't
is
told the parents.
possible, but because they felt they are religious, so they felt the lady should
That
endure.
God will
This,
intervene.
it doesn't work like
Because
that.
they are not considering the
Right.
feelings
The
Of
trauma,
the lady.
the trauma this lady will have to undergo for
Yeah.
years.
Mm.
You say marriage is a lifetime thing.
It is.
It's not something you go in and wish to actually come
Absolutely.
on, except for some situation
Right.
beyond your
Right.
your path,
Yeah.
which is something like this. A lot of people make these mistakes. A lot of divorces here and there. Divorce don't
Okay.
just happen.
Okay.
It is because of what they cannot take.
Let's move forward now.
Yeah,
But
so
can I quickly say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Please,
Go ahead.
please.
Yes,
go ahead.
Most people you hear things like "I love this person." Love is not enough to take into
It's
marriage.
not.
No. If you go to marriage, the first thing that I feel that is very important is wisdom. when I don't feel like loving anymore, when things are turning out,
What happens?
what happens?
Yeah, what next?
Okay, I need the wisdom to really handle this because like
That wisdom is called commitment.
it's not-
When you go into marriage, you have to be committed to your marriage.
Yes.
but you also see the generation.
Sacrificial also is sacrificial. That's
Yes, that's the
sacrifice also.
commitment.
But
Yeah.
make sure that you are committed to a good cause, not the wrong cause.
Not the wrong one.
And
That's
before
another
you
thing.
even decide to go into marriage, you must put the person you want to get married
Into
to
consideration.
You don't
Right.
take decisions for the person.
Mm.
I have my heart, I have my life. You can't just bring your own and crumble
Yeah,
me.
and that's why we always say, before two adults come together, sit down, discuss.
Details.
That is what is done in courtship.
Right.
But they don't do
Courtship
these
is not for
things.
you,
Right.
for useless. I love you. And
Yes.
without
Just like-
necessarily
without
discussing
commitment.
it.
Yeah, our topic of discussion is the original and the contemporary marriage. All right, that's what they did in the old times. Originally, that's what it's meant to do. That's what they do. They go to find out, to the extent that parents go out there to go to the communities of where you are about to take the wife,
Yes.
even without the knowledge of either the bride to be or the
Sure.
groom to be,
Yes.
to make it do their findings, investigation. That's how it was. But how many do that these days?
And-
Even talking about courtship and counseling, how many couples undergo counseling? 3 months, even 1 month. How many go? They are too busy. They feel, oh, love is enough. Oh, they are so much in love. Oh, I will die if I don't marry him. Oh, she's the only one. If I don't marry her, it's either her or no one else. But it's beyond that.
But
It's
don't
beyond that.
forget that 1 month wedding marriage counseling is not enough for the marriage that is going to
That's what I'm saying.
be
And that's what I'm
50
saying.
years.
I'm saying that they
basis.
don't do, it's normally 3-6 months, but I'm saying that even 1 month these days, they don't even go.
Yeah.
Even as small as a month is, that is like you have said, is not enough. They don't even go.
There are people that you can't even learn, you can't study for years.
That's right.
Yes, because each day they misbehave, you feel like
There's
is
a
it
new
no,
there's a new version of
of the person.
Right.
Is it
The
you?
fact remains
Did
that
I really choose you?
you can only know the true color of your spouse after marriage.
Yes.
That's
And
when- yes.
some are not easily
Oh, yes.
known.
That's when you know the true nature, the true character. That's when it comes out. So you really need to watch out. Take time, don't rush into it. Okay, my next line of question goes like this, and I'll start with you, Keisha. Is white wedding necessary? Because a lot of times this time, if that gown, that white or cream colored gown is not worn, these days, the young ladies we have now, the generation of our youth, may God help them, they don't wear that gown, they don't believe they are married. They don't go, lavish, show off, be on that bouquet, bridal tray and all that. They don't do all that, they don't believe they are married. So is that white wedding is it?
Well, my opinion is not going to count for so many persons out there, but I'm thinking that it's not necessary. Two of you agreed. If you can actually afford it, go ahead and handle that. And if you know you can, please don't just venture into something that you don't know what will become of it tomorrow. So it's really key. And one of the challenges, I was thinking that we should even have time to celebrate those that are still in marriage after 30 years, after 40 years. Because when I started hearing people saying, oh, there are a lot of people leaving their marriages, it's the divorcees. But I'm telling you this morning that out of 50 friends I have that are married, I'm telling you that 48, they are still married. So it's a good thing that we also, project it and make people understand that marriage is not just a scam like most people now don't have value for it any longer. They say, no, it doesn't matter. It matters so much. So for anyone out there thinking that, oh, this is what I want to do to make my marriage, it's not actually the wedding aspect of it that matters. It's your relationship. What happens after that very day? When you invite everybody, we're done eating, we dance with you, we put on our showcase, and we're back to our houses, and the real life begins.
Right.
What follows? So that is really
afterwards,
the factor to consider. But a lot of women don't really get to think about this. A lot of women don't think about it. they just feel like, okay, it's a lifetime thing.
You should only women, sir.
Yeah, a lot of women.
Okay.
A lot of people, because they have in their mind the kind of picture they want to have of their marriage, the people that will be coming around. But I still want to say that if you go into marriage with wisdom, there are certain things you can actually heal yourself before you get into the next.
Okay. There is this thing I want us to talk about. I want us to talk about there's a norm now that always says they ask the ladies, what do you have? What are you bringing to the table before marriage? Even a lot of people talk about it, that don't marry any lady, any girl that does not have something on the table, that does not have what to keep on the table. What is this? What are they expecting the woman to put on the table? I want us to talk about that. Because at the beginning, we are comparing and contrasting. At the beginning, it is the man that was meant or giving the commandment of taking care, providing for the home, for the wife, for the family. So the man was commanded in the scriptures to love and cherish the wife. Like we have said, marriage is initiated and created by God, and it's a replica of God's family, the family of God, where God made Christ the head, and we are the children of God and the body of Christ. So is the man. The man is meant to be the head of the home, of the family, over the wife and the children. And it is the man that God was told to go toil, to go provide for his wife, to take care of his wife. And Christ now said that the man should love the wife, nurture her. Of course, when children start coming, along with the children, as much as Christ loved and died for the church. Then he told the woman was created to be what? A companion, a helpmate to her husband, to support her husband, like you had earlier said, to ensure that the husband succeeds. It is the duty of the woman to ensure that the husband succeeds. The husband goes out to toil, to work, he comes home, he has peace, give him peace, rest of mind, not to nag. All right? To support and honor. The Bible said that what's the name? Isaac, no, not Isaac, Abraham, Sarah. Called Abraham Lord. That's my crown. That Lord means crown. It's a honor. The wife is meant to honor the husband. So, does that happen? That's the original. That's how it's meant to be. Is that what people marry for these days? When a man is telling the woman, what are you bringing to the table, when he's the one that is meant to provide? Or when the woman sees the man, probably for whatever, maybe after things are not going so well for the man, financially and otherwise, and she sees him like trash, she doesn't respect him. Whether the man has challenges or not, the woman is meant to honor her husband and support him. These are some of the things that I'm saying, that marriage is a mystery, needs to be understood properly and respected as an institution before two people go into it. So this is what I want us to talk about. I want each and every of your opinion. I'm starting with Isha.
50-50, like some men there, what do you have to bring to the table? And the difference between now and then was that during our father's era, there were a lot of opportunities, but they were not given to the women. They were given to the men. When they're in school, you talk about men getting ready to have a job. Even after primary school, the man is given a job. But no matter where you go to as a woman, that job is not given to you because there were no provisions made for women, much like it was for men. So our fathers took that responsibility. But we've come to the era where the same opportunities are given. Most times, women can even have 60 and men drag with probably 40. So it's not like you asking what you have to bring to the table. It's you asking yourself, what do I have to offer to this woman? So if I don't have same tomorrow, this woman can as well help the home. You know, it's something that, don't forget that it's a team.
Yeah.
It's a team.
Yeah.
It's not a business of saying, okay, the woman must, it's a must that you must invest in it. No, where there is love, where there's understanding, where there's wisdom, that responsibility will be there for you to know, okay, we are going to manage our resources. Even if the other party don't have anything to bring on board, we'll be able to. But don't forget that there are a lot of women who always want to give out their best, even without you asking them to bring 50 or to bring something to the table.
Right.
So I believe that it's better you plan your marriage, not asking what the other person has to bring to the table. If anything happens, if there's something to bring to the table, you don't even need to ask. When there are challenges, something will definitely come on the table.
Okay. So at this point, we'll go on a short break. Please stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly. Welcome back. We are glad to have you stay tuned. My name is Elizabeth Samsedi, and this is the Family and Society Talk Show. We are discussing marriage, the original marriage, and the contemporary marriage. I still have with me on the studio Kisha. Thank you, Kisha, Mr. Kisha Ndiaye, a media professional, for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
I still have with me Reverend Colonel Smart Simon. Thank you, sir, for being here. He's a journalist and a clergyman, and I still have Patience Clement Onyechi. Thank you for being here. So, Kisha, we were talking about this controversy of what you have on the table. Before marriage, that's men asking women what they are bringing to the table. Is it right? Is that what we know that yes, the contemporary days, these days is different. Then women didn't used to attain half degrees. They were not working then, which they are doing now. All right. We're not saying that if a woman is earning, the woman should not support the husband. It takes two to tango. That's what is it. Once they are married, they have a home, they have everything in common. All right. So if one is doing better, or they are both doing okay, whatever it is, they are meant to share it. They'll share the good times and share the not so good times together. But that issue of what is it, what are you bringing? That's what you were on it.
Oh, first of all, you need to also understand that marriage is not for the weak, it's for the strong.
Right.
Strong in the mind. I remember behind the scene when Reverend made a point for if you don't have something, you don't have to venture into it. Now, we get back to the origin of marriage, how God joined this. There were a lot of responsibility, a lot of resources, and you could see the first man on earth tilling, getting ready, because there is a responsibility, a woman given to him.
Right.
And because he's aware that he's going to give account to God, how did you manage this person I've given to you? So he was out to work to make sure that he present that. And don't forget, most people who get into, I'm not missing words. Those people who get into asking women, what do you have to bring to the table? Check them out. There's something they're looking for different from the purpose of marriage. So if you get to find out what they are looking for, you understand that even if the woman has everything to bring to the table, at the end of the day, that marriage will still have challenges, because their purpose wasn't marriage. Their purpose was, the marriage was just a means to an end. So I'm thinking that it's better for us to stop disturbing ourselves so much with asking what you have to bring to the table.
I want to really say that is where foundation comes in.
Right.
Before you go into something, you have to lay a good foundation for it. You want to marry. Why are you going into that? Like you rightly said, why are you going into that marriage? What is your aim? What do you stand to achieve? What is your benefit? For companionship, very good. Are you compatible with the person? Now you're basing it on what do you have to offer. You're asking a woman. To me, seriously speaking, it's not.
It's an investment.
It's a red flag.
Asking somebody what
It's
you
a red
have to
flag.
offer.
It's a red flag. You can't come to me and ask me what I have to offer because you want to marry me. If you want to marry me, there should be something different from this topic. I can compliment my man. I'm an advocate for women supporting men.
Absolutely.
You don't be with a man you cannot back.
Right.
I can give as much as I have to my man if I have it. But the man shouldn't make it like a norm, like what do you have to offer me? It sounds so, I don't know.
It doesn't sound right.
It doesn't, it's not
I need
just
your
right.
opinion on this kind of
It's
Yeah.
not.
Thank you so much. You see, any man that will first of all ask, what are you bringing to the table?
Yes.
It's a gold digger.
Thank
That's
you,
right.
sir. Thank you, Kanan.
Because a woman, by nature of her creation, is already having something to bring. You don't need to ask.
Exactly.
I've been married for 15 years. And as my wife brings something to the table, she has given me 3 beautiful children that I'm very proud of, that money cannot buy.
True.
I didn't have to ask her, what are you bringing on the
You
table?
don't have to.
She's already, by the way God designed her, whatever you give her, she make it beautiful, multiply it and give it to you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it's not necessary at all. You don't need to ask. The most important thing is this woman that you want to marry a good Christian from the perspective of my religion? I want to know if it's a good Christian, because if she's a Christian, then definitely she will give you peace of mind. Definitely she's going to help you achieve what God has given you by way of vision, by way of what to do. Now, if we go back to the first marriage, God gave Adam work to do. Right? After giving him work to do, God felt that he won't be able to actualize this work alone. Now, let me make a help me suitable. So she's already coming as a help me. And another word for help me is, what are you bringing on board? So she's already, God has already designed a woman with something to bring on board, which you don't need to ask. The most important thing is, every woman who is going into marriage should structure herself in such a way that she's coming in to help the man succeed. Now, when the man succeeds, it is the woman who will benefit. Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, you said they will both benefit.
Yes.
Fine. But she will benefit more.
The family will grow more.
She will benefit more. She will be happy. I know that in some marriages, the woman, whatever you want, go through the woman, you get it.
Yeah. There are families like
Some families.
Yes.
If you don't go through the woman, forget it. That means that the woman is like the manager
Thanks
of
to
the
man.
resources in the home.
Yes, the man gave her that right, that power. Without the man, an understanding man, she can't also do well in that aspect.
So we will advise young people out there, don't first of all go with the mindset that, what are you bringing on board? every woman is already having something on board. If you give her trouble, she will multiply the trouble and give it back to you. You give her cement or sperm that is called, she give you babies, good babies.
Right.
You give her education, she get educated and begin to make money. She brings so much money to the table. You give her groceries from the market, by the time she bring it home, she will make it a beautiful meal for you. Whatever you give her, she will be ready to give it back to you in 100-fold.
Well, can I quickly say something
Yes.
before
Yes,
that?
yeah.
Let's quickly look at some of these guys who they are not asking women what they have to bring to the table. They just have something, a show up. You see them living a good life all through their single life until when they get married. That is when you notice that they don't have anything. In other words, they try to please, to impress
First life.
They try to embrace women. You get to a particular house where you see like 3-4 guys living together in a good house. When the other girl is coming in, they know that okay, they are going to assign this house to Mr.
So the
to
others
brother
will
A. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you discover that some girls will be deceived. You get into the relationship and you're getting into marriage, and at the end of the day, you notice that your man has nothing.
To
And
offer.
he starts asking, what do you have to bring to the table?
He has nothing to put on
Right.
the
He
table.
has nothing to put on the table. And he doesn't have the table as
Yeah,
well.
he doesn't have the
He
table.
doesn't have the table.
There
So
are
it's
fake
very
people like
important
that.
that every girl should work with wisdom to know. It's not all about, I like this guy, he has a car, he has this. At the end of the day, you discover that he doesn't have all this.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why also that, like you're saying, deceit is the order of the day. That's why a lot of young ladies will not even listen. You know, there's a saying that what an old man sees sitting, even when a child climbs up and
That's
the child will not sit. By the time the child, the girl is seeing whoever, there's always this thing that bring whoever home. Let your people, your parents, your
See them, says them.
family members get to see this person to help you look beyond your love blinded eyes, because most of them, once they are in love, they are blinded. Their mind is taken up, then they reason with their heart, not with their head. So by the time you bring such, you are seeing somebody you feel you are liking, and you feel it's getting to that level where you may think you are considering to settle down with the person, whether it's a male or a female. Bring that person home. Let your people help assess this person. They will see beyond what you see.
Talking about this now, don't you also think that there are lots of families who complicate relationships?
There are.
Having bringing the person home,
Yeah.
your family, your mother, your father, your siblings, friends, neighbors can also turn around and harm the relationship.
That's possible. Another aspect I also want to talk about is this matchmaking thing.
Yeah.
Do parents still matchmake associates and
They do.
children of associates for marriage?
They still do.
Friends too. Even strangers match people these
Yeah,
days.
strangers match
Social
people.
media, people are matching here and there.
And that is why we're having a lot of breakage, divorce here and there.
Well, personally,
People
I
don't-
don't call it divorce anyway, because, for example, now you match make us here now,
Yeah.
and we don't get to know each other.
Yes.
We rush into it.
Right.
First of all, that was not marriage. That wasn't marriage. It was just a relationship, because there was no legal right involved in it. And the most annoying part of it is this: if that relationship doesn't work out, the next thing is you don't think that there are good men because of maybe one or two things that happened, and I don't think that there are good women because of what happened between the two of us. And at the end of the day, if you have a good man now to get into a relationship with, you don't get into the relationship with a mindset set to love this person. You get into the relationship with a mindset of revenge.
You are even scared. So some
Yeah,
extent
I
to
say
it.
this is men. That is how men are. But the truth is, matchmaking, what we see now, most especially on social media, is not it. It's actually destroying young people
Right.
out there.
Not for
We,
a
I
while
think
now.
there are two ways to this.
Right.
Whether you're making a match, or it's a one-on-one thing, everybody just have to be very careful.
Careful, right?
You have to be careful with whoever you choose to stay around, because you can't trust anybody too much just at first sight like that, which is the problem young people are going through. You actually see this man, okay, he's flashy, like you rightly said, he's flashy, he looks promising, he looks having all, and once you give yourself to the person,
Okay. There's another aspect. You were going to say something very quickly.
I just have to
Yeah.
quickly say that sometimes matchmaking work for some people. Sometimes it doesn't work.
yes.
So we can't outrightly say it's entirely
Yes.
bad. Because even in the scriptures, we could pinpoint some element of matchmaking.
It works then, not now.
It's still
Even
working
in
for
the
some
kind of
people.
no, the kind of
olden day
society
culture.
we have now is different from what we had then. Then parents will listen, the children will listen to their parents and obey them. Some of the parents we have today will tell you, when I met your father or when I met your mother, it was like that. You will eventually grow to love him. Well, yeah.
So-
when I met your father, I was not in love.
I think
But
knowledge was
you know,
scarce then.
when after a while, after a couple of years, look at us today.
There were limited
We are together,
knowledge.
but you can't. It's not the same now.
So the most important thing I want to emphasize here is the fact that we need for background check
Yes, very
in
important.
all relationships
Mm.
that will lead to marriage. Do a background check. Where the persons come from. How do they behave in their
Treat
place?
people.
Mm.
The family. How do this family behave and all that? Some people had their marriage crashed because of family
Yes. Please.
problems.
Yeah.
Yes. Family
Not
and
knowing
friends.
the family, how this family do things and all that, and you go into marriage, then at the end of the day, the marriage will crash. So take your time as you pray to God, as you talk about love. Do background check before you. So you have to go into marriage with your eyes wide open.
Wide open. Oh.
Not just love. Oh. Love is not enough. I can guarantee you that love is not enough to sustain your marriage.
Right.
It may be good, but not enough.
Say it very loud.
And of course, I always tell people that just like our fingers are different, we have different fingerprints. Yours is different from mine, so everybody, you have just
Okay.
like our faces too are different. Your marriage can never be mine. What you are experiencing then, like people make this mistake. You want to cancel somebody, you want the person use your own marriage as an example.
Yeah.
Mr. A
What
is different
Mr.
from
B?
Mr. B.
Yeah.
What
You
works
know
for
what?
you may not work for me. So it just
Absolutely.
depends on what I want.
Right.
What he
That's
wants,
why
and you go
studying
for
each
it.
other
is very
at
important.
the beginning is important.
You should be able to disagree to agree
Right.
without much fractions.
Okay, very quickly. I want us to balance up because we are looking at the old times and the present times. We have talked about the men being the providers, but that does not mean that women, as the helpmates, that the support you are meant to give to your husband when you can, that you shouldn't do that. You are meant to do that. But
Times have
this
changed.
thing of a lady, what are you bringing to the table? We condemn it. We say no. Men are originally meant to provide for their wives and their families. But again, I emphasize, women, if you are capable, please go ahead and support your spouse. That's what you are there to do. Then again, the aspect I want us to is now I'm looking at the aspect of the women. Women are meant to honor and respect their husbands. Women meant to honor and respect their husbands. A lot of women, contemporary marriages, women don't listen. Whether it's because most women now get so educated, they are so, and most times women are even more educated than men these days.
It's feminism.
No matter,
It's feminism that is the cause of the problem.
well,
I think we're also
I
mistaking
think that
for
feminism is
something
being
else.
less. Exactly. I think a lot of
Feminism in
people are
itself does
mistaking
not
it.
really mean negative.
But-
Feminism does not mean a woman should disrespect.
So
her
women
man
should set the
or her
record
spouse.
straight about feminism.
Some women,
Not
don't
some
get
women.
me
No,
wrong.
the records have been set. It is some people that
Some
misinterpret.
women.
Yes, a lot of people get it wrongly. They misinterpret
and the younger
feminism.
generation.
That's not what it is. From my take is, this idea of no, he doesn't provide for me, so I will not, I will not support him, or
I will not respect.
I will not respect him. He should provide first. I've always said it that marriage will be peaceful if both parties will do according to what God has commanded them to do. We've talked about the man. The man is meant to provide and love his wife. The woman is meant to make sure the husband achieves his goals by supporting him by all means, honoring and regarding him. If you are about to get married and you see the man that is not the kind of man you want to spend the rest of your life with, or after a while, imagine him, maybe he has enough to spend on you now, and maybe tomorrow he doesn't have. Will you still honor him? If you will not, then I think you don't have any business to do with that man. Fisher, I want you to say something.
Well, there are some persons that will accept what you're saying. But first of all, let me say this. The good book, there's a particular point I saw. I think Reverend can attest to that. It says, and both of them were naked and they were not ashamed. Which means that it was a thing of, yeah, you are naked, I'm naked. We are not ashamed because we cover the nakedness of ourselves with the love and the mindset that we are here in this thing to make it work because we are here to please someone who originated our union.
Right.
So if we get into the point of knowing so well the principles set out
For
marriage.
Yes.
And if you look at the good books that we talk about, there's a Adam and Eve before the fall, and there's Adam and Eve after the fall.
Exactly.
And people base their argument and all their narratives on after the fall. After the fall was not original plan of God.
Exactly.
Before the fall was what God intends was all about, their union. Then you look at people who put the scripture, for example, now somebody say, marry who you love. There is no place like that in the scripture.
No.
Marry who you love.
No.
They say, love your wife.
Right.
Simple.
Right.
Then you talk about submission.
You love who you marry.
Love who you marry. There's nothing like love who you how do you say? No. Marry who you love.
Who you love.
Yeah. They say marry who you love. The issue is that there are so many of us men that love thousands of women.
Right.
Which means that the love is shared among all of them. And the woman who's supposed to get the real love is just getting a fraction because the real love is shared among the people you love. So I'm saying that love your wife. The Bible says love your wife. Then when it gets to submission, you say, woman, submit to your husband.
Yes.
But this is where the challenge
Yes.
is. A man, you don't demand for submission.
Right.
It's natural.
It's natural.
That's right.
It's on default.
Right.
And there are certain things that will make me earn that submission. And there are certain things that will make me lose my value as a man.
Right.
Can I say this? It is not lawful. It's not good enough for a man to expose his inabilities to the world. To say this is just my value. This is just me. This is just me. You are everywhere. You are everywhere. People are saying, no woman will respect such a man. A man that has so many girls, friends, even though they don't have anything. Anywhere you go to, is the husband that is mentioned. And it's difficult for a woman to submit and to love such a man. Because she believes that there's something I'm not getting because you're sharing whatever your personality to everybody.
Right.
So submission comes naturally when the man plays
Up to
his
his
game.
Is up to his game, right? So
Okay, so very quickly, which of you have anything to add to that?
Of course.
Yeah, please.
So the whole thing is that the name husband is an agricultural term from husbandry.
Right.
And in husbandry, you take a wild animal and tempt it
Yeah.
to become whatever you want it to become. If it is a plant, you groom the plant to become whatever it is. A man has the responsibility of grooming his wife. That is why That is why the man is called groom and the wife is called bridegroom. She is to be groomed by her husband. Now the husband have the responsibility of ensuring that he provides all that is needed in the home. Now, if you play your game very well, you take up your responsibility very well, women that I know will naturally submit.
Absolutely. Because when you get
Although
to
there
that-
are few exceptions
yeah.
who are stubborn,
Mm.
who whatever you do, they don't care. But any man who is able to provide, love the family and all that, gradually what you're teaching your wife is that if you sacrifice, you are committed to the marriage, you are making effort, you are doing everything, and she's seeing you. Anytime that is lapses,
not to support or honor you.
anytime that is lapses, she will be up to make sure that she
Absolutely.
supports
I
you
agree with you.
whichever way.
I agree with
It is when you don't play your game very well.
you.
You know, in fact, I have understood that husband is an office, and because it's an office, God has kept you in that office. All that God wants you to do in that office, just perform your responsibility. Wife is an office, perform your responsibility, and then you see God coming
My point
and
exactly.
working in that marriage.
My point exactly. Only if this, what we have just discussed today, this knowledge, young people, we gather this knowledge of the marriage as an institution, as an entity, study it. There should be a school of marriage. Maybe I'm gonna be the first to open such.
Something like that.
Right.
Well, don't forget that.
Yeah.
Don't forget that even in the school of marriage, there are people who will graduate and still not pass.
Like people that will still score F9.
Because marriage on its own is an institution. We are told that we never graduate till death. We
Honestly,
are just
school of marriage is a good idea
right? At least
because
to
marriages
do
are failing.
school of marriage and school of parenting. These are very key. All right.
Orientation is key.
You should go through it before you go into marriage.
Exactly, because a lot
In fact, I was going to
there's
share
a
you
lot
my
of
experience.
a lot of ignorance, a lot of misconception, so much about marriage. That's why we can't but stop, but keep laying emphasis, making it right, advocating, preaching it, just like we are doing yet again today. All right. Only if the two parties will know what it entails. The man, face your own, do it. Let the woman face her.
Irrespective of what the woman is doing,
Irrespective of
just
what the woman
perform your
just,
responsibility.
just keep going, because you are not even doing it for her. You are doing it for
You are performing your responsibility,
your
obeying God.
God.
The role God gave
The
you.
role God has given you. Likewise, the woman. Despite, yes, some people will, that's another, infidelity is a different topic for another day. I don't even want to enter into that. But there are instances where the woman will tell you he's cheating, he's not at home. Just do your thing. Just keep doing what you are meant to do. Just keep looking at God and obeying the duties that He has given to you as a wife. And of course, keep praying, because you can't outrule prayers. As we established that at the beginning, that of course marriage is mystery. It's a mystery. So you need, and of course it's God. So you have to pray, seek his guidance for Him to guide you through. Because on our own, what do we know by ourselves?
But don't forget. Sorry to cut in. Don't forget. If like Keisha sitting down here, if I want a good marriage, and I go out there, I see some of these our sisters that always stay by the roadside, and I get used to them, and I pick any of them home. Don't expect 100% of marriage. Even though they say, some of these ladies, they can make good homes. Yeah, they can. I'm saying that. So a man also, or a woman, need to be careful where you pick up your partner from.
Right.
The environment you pick up your partner from matters so much. You cannot change a human being even within 10 years.
Absolutely.
You cannot. So if you're going to endure your life or enjoy your life, the environment where you're picking your spouse matters a lot, because she's educated or he's educated a particular way, not do things the way you want them to be done.
Yeah, I agree that we're winding down now. In conclusion, that's why talking about, yes, you have to be careful where you pick your partner from. Also, let's not forget that the upbringing matters. How the child was brought up,
Yes.
the kind of home he came from. Was it from a broken home?
Contributed
Is she from a broken home? How well did his father treat his mother? How well did his mother respect the father? Was the father mentally stable? All of this play in the lives of children and grow with them to the extent that even after marriage, this thing still rings a bell. What they saw when they were growing up in their home with their parents plays a big role. In conclusion, as we round up, what would you say as far as this topic is concerned, education? What would be your final counsel to our viewers today on the comparison of the old, the original marriage and the contemporary marriage?
Okay, first of all, you must be sincere. You must be sincere. Don't cover up your lifestyle. Tell your woman, tell your man, let your spouse, your partner understand who you are and get to relate with the people based on who you are, your level. Don't try to impress somebody and feel that, okay, when I get to the other side, I'll definitely cross it over. Be sincere, that's all I can
Be yourself
tell.
at all
Be
times.
yourself at all times.
Clempat?
Yes, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, viewers, for staying tuned. I just want to quickly say that if you are a lady and you want to go into marriage, I will talk very with real points here. You have the duty also, you have a role to play. You have to tell yourself the truth that you are going into a mission of no return. Possibly.
Right.
Yes, because as you go in there, your mindset matters. Are you really prepared psychologically, emotionally? Are you prepared socially, mentally, spiritually, financially?
Right.
Even though we are talking very light on this point, it is important. That is the reason why I keep motivating ladies these days. Please, you can get skills, you can get anything to equip yourself. Develop yourself, go to school. Don't leave yourself like that and expect your man to accept you. Times have changed. The society we are living in and so much economic challenges. That is why you see some men are sliding. They are really indirectly living their roles. Like, what do you have to bring? What do you have to offer? And all of that. Because they know the society things are challenging. So please, ladies, as you're preparing for that marriage, please try your best to equip yourself, develop yourself to be able to fit in. And please, bros, man, you are the head of that home. You're not supposed to beg your wife to bring something into your home. You yourself should work towards overseeing the affairs of your home. And to our beloved parents, I want to really, really thank those ones that have put in so much energy to develop their children's mind towards what to expect in marriages. A lot of parents have failed. They don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't teach us what we are supposed to know or learn before entering into the marriage. That is why you see that the challenges become so much for some young minds, and they just decide to bow out of it because they can't take it no more. Parents, please do your best. Teach us the right thing. Support your children that are going into marriage to do better.
Okay, thank you. If I leave her, she will keep going. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I want to say that the original intention of marriage still remains the same. It has not changed.
It hasn't changed.
God is still God.
Yeah.
Marriage is still His own idea.
Right.
And let me quickly say that marriage is not a contract. It's not a contract. Marriage is for a lifetime. Before you go into marriage, just know that this marriage, you're not going to sign a contract to do it for two years, 10 years, and thereafter it's over. No. Marriage is permanent. Alright? So if you have that at the back of your mind, the moment you go into marriage, it will help you and give you the idea that whatever you need to do to ensure that the marriage will succeed. Well, I will tell my wife, nobody is going anywhere. We die here. All right? So we are already committed to it in making it work. That is why the first purpose for marriage is for companionship. Both of you should be friends, understand each other. The way I have structured it in such a way that even when I'm not at home now, and then something happened at home, I know how she will handle it. Because we're used to each other, we've gone to understand ourselves and all that, and train ourselves over time. The dislike and like of each other, all of those we've come to know. So please and please, is for a lifetime. And from my own part, as a reverend, marriage is monogamous. In other words, it's one man, one woman.
Well,
Once
thank
you're married,
you.
stick to your wife
Yeah.
and work on her.
Thank you so
Thank
much, Mr. Kisha Odie. Thank you so much, Reverend Canon Smart Sermon. I'm grateful. And Patience Clement Onyeche. Onyeche. Thank you, our viewers. Thank you for finding time to be with us today. And I will say that marriage is not a poverty alleviation, please.
It is not.
It is not. So for those that go into marriage that feel, oh, when I marry her, I will be made. No. Make sure it's not for the jobless. Right now we're in the contemporary times. Yes, we have said that it is the duty of the man to take care of his wife, but at the same time, every adult must work. Women, make sure you have a hand work. You have something doing before you go into marriage. Times are hard, so that you can support your husband in any way, financially or otherwise. Of course, not forgetting your focus on the home, nurturing and all that. All right. So let's learn to treat each other well. Let's learn to watch out, study who it is that we intend to spend the rest of our lives with. If you cannot honor him for the rest of your life, please, you have no business with him. And if you cannot love her for the rest of your life, please, you have no business with her. Thank you so very much. My name is Elizabeth Samsedi. We'll see you next time. Bye.